Wolves of Shadowed Fate. Episode 28. Chapter 149 to 153. Blake's POV. You love me. I could see that Cheryl tried and failed to hold back the scoff at what I just told her. I am disappointed that she doesn't believe me, but I will not give up. I had begged them to allow me to talk to her alone. I didn't expect them to, not after how I behaved when the bloodsucker told me that I had lost her. I hated having to bare my heart and soul in front of them, but for my mate, I would. I heard what she said to Graham. I knew that some of what she had said, had indeed been aimed at me when she was speaking, but I refused to admit defeat on this. I will not be able to get over it if she doesn't come back to me. I do love you, Cheryl. I loved you when I made you my chosen mate, and I love you right now, at this moment. I was out of my mind with jealousy over Graham's lies. I was so angry that I couldn't get past it, or let it go. You were my everything, you were my mate, but even thinking about you with another was breaking my heart. I couldn't drop it as my jealousy stayed with me, making me lose my mind about not wanting anyone else to touch you. You gave yourself to me, and I was the only man that you chose to be with. That meant so much to me. I didn't want another man to have the same claim of having the privilege of it. That is why I would go crazy even if someone else bumped into you, or vice versa. I would worry that you were with them too, because of the seeds of doubt that Graham planted. I was sick with worry about it all the time, so I poisoned the pack against you. I made sure that no one would ever have the balls to touch what was mine, as I made examples of anyone who even got close to you. I did it the wrong way, baby. I messed up. But I swear to you that I will spend the rest of my life making it up to you, I told her. How? She asked me calmly. I don't know what she is talking about. What? I asked her. How are you going to make it up to me? Cheryl said, and the calm way she is speaking is making me worry. Whatever you want me to do, Cheryl. I will do it. Whatever you want or need me to do, that is what I will do for you. I will make it right, I just want you to tell me what that will be. I am already making plans for Forrest to take over the pack when he turns 18. I plan on us taking over Graham's home to live in, if you want to, or we can level it and start fresh. Your parents will go to the pack house to live, or to Blood Tracker, whatever you want. I won't allow your father to hurt you again. I was even going to let Graham know that we took over his home. That will hurt him too. He will hate you living there, it would be another nail in his coffin. I can spend all my time with you after that. We can plant a garden, travel, whatever it is that you want me to do, I will do it. There is nothing off the table. I have Graham's money. I will spend my half of it all on you if you want me to, I told her. I am earnest and I am holding her hand as I speak to her. I hope that she can see the honesty in my eyes. Blake, I see that you still do not get me at all. I didn't want stuff. What I wanted, was actually free and wouldn't have cost you a cent. I wanted your love and your support. I wanted you to listen to me when I spoke to you. When I told you what was happening and you branded me a liar. You refused to listen from the start. The fact that Graham tried to start with me on this whole thing, and I shot him down. I told him that whatever trick he wanted to play on me, was not going to work, because we loved and trusted each other. I told him that I knew you hadn't cheated on me, because I had felt that pain like I had felt before. I wouldn't wish it on anyone, it is breathtaking in both the physical, and emotional, pain that it brings to you. To let you know without a doubt that your mate is with another. He tried to start with me, and I trusted you 100% and stood up and defended you to him. That is what broke my heart. Because you didn't do the same when he came to you, Cheryl told me. I cannot stop the tears that burned in my eyes. She was silent for a little while before speaking again. I thought you would. We had a strong relationship, and I honestly thought that you would tell him off. Tell him that we could not be torn apart. But you didn't. Instead of even looking at it rationally, you accepted that liar's words, over mine. You refused to believe me at every turn. Instead of getting a DNA test, or anything to prove it one way, or another, you condemned our son. Announced to the pack how bad we both were to them. Allowing them to brand us as worthless, and the lowest members of the pack. Both Kevin and I did everything we could to get you to see what was right in front of you. To see what you should have seen from the first moment he approached you. That is what hurts the most, that you were willing to listen to him so much, that your alleged love for me wasn't there anymore. We were hated, and therefore open season for anyone who had a bad day, or needed someone to take it out on. I find it amazing to hear you now asking me to listen to you. When I begged you to listen to me for years, and you flatly refused. You knew best, and you knew I cheated on you. Now that you know what happened, you wanted to fix it. Well, guess what, Blake? I did too, at the 3-year mark, and the 4-year mark. Years and years passed by, but I was undeserving of your respect. Because that is what this all boils down to, Blake. You had no respect for me, which is a main part of the relationship. You didn't care about my feelings or the pain I was in. You only cared about your opinions and your pain. But speaking of pain, you never felt it. Everyone who is mated knows, or has heard, of how bad that pain is when your mate cheats on you. I was outside your door waiting when you came out, so I could see who you had cheated with. You never felt a thing. You took away my value, and worth, and you had people basically spitting on us because you needed everyone to take your side in it when you could have had us deal with the privately. Respect goes hand in hand with trust and communication. You took them all away from me. You had no trust, or respect for me, and refused to communicate. So you can just take a page out of your own playbook on this. If you were not willing to do it for me after I begged and begged you hundreds of times, why should I do it for you? Cheryl asked me, and I cannot breathe right now. She is right, I did every bit of that to her and refused to do anything to make it better for our relationship. I absolutely refused to do anything for her, until she was willing to confess what she had done. My pain drove me further and further into the abyss, trying to force her to do it. Demanding her apology for her betrayal of me. Never once stopping to even consider the fact that it had all been a lie. That she didn't admit to it because she hadn't done what she was being accused of. The pain in my heart ramps up to an even higher level. I have to show her what I am willing to do for her. I hit the floor and went down on my knees and put my forehead on the back of her hand that I was holding. I am submitting myself to her. Showing her that I bow to her, she is the one with the power now, and I have none. I will do anything that she asks of me, except for allowing her to leave me. Cheryl, I am so sorry, baby. This was all my fault. I didn't know that kind of pain because you have been a loyal mate. I figured that I had felt it, and just dismissed it because I have always been strong. You have never done it to me, and I never want to experience it either. I am sick over this. Yes, Graham started it up, but you have known for years how jealous and possessive of you that I am. I know that I messed up, baby. I know it. I am so sorry about what I did to you, but I still chose you as my mate. I can wait for you to forgive me totally. I just want you to come back to Black Moon. I will get everyone in the pack straightened out. They will all be told that it was all my fault, and Graham's. I will make sure that your name is never besmirched again. They will all be told that I was wrong. That all 4 of our children are mine. This is just for starters. I am absolutely serious about what I am willing to do to get you to come back home. I just want you to know that I am aware of what I did wrong, and I will do anything to make it right again. I swear to the goddess, I will fix this for you, I told her. I don't raise my head when I stop speaking. I want her to realize that she is the one with the power, to either make or break us. That I will submit to her from now on, that it will only be her words that I take as counsel for what we need to do going forward. I lifted my head a few minutes later when I hear my son start to speak to me. So are you more scared that she has other men chasing after her, Dad? Or because you honestly love her? Because from what I saw back in our pack, you didn't give a damn about her, or me. You didn't care how we were belittled, or hurt. You never asked Mom where her bruises, or mine, ever came from. Probably because you already knew the answer. I don't know about Mom, she can make her own choices, but mine is to stay here, with my friends. With people who respect me, care about me, and show that every day. Not getting their information from a devious source, and taking it as the truth. Everyone in the pack believes your announcement, Dad. Even your ranked wolves believed it. Probably because anyone with common sense would have checked out the validity of the alleged charge before they announced it as being the actual truth. Instead of wholeheartedly believing it, because you got your feelings hurt. Sorry for interrupting, I heard you were here, so I came to see you. I wanted my mother to know that I love and appreciate her. I know that I would have never made it out of there alive without her. I also know that she still loves you, and I am sure that not seeing my brothers and sister is weighing heavily on her heart. I wanted her to know that I am okay with her going back to Black Moon if she feels that she needs to. I know that you will make it safer for her to be there. But I don't think you realize how much pain Mom dealt with on a daily basis. So you better make sure that she is well taken care of if she ever does decide to come back, Kevin stated, and I am surprised at how well spoken he is. I am sorry, Kevin, I am. I was an IT for falling for it, and I have no excuse for it. I will make complete changes to my pack. I want you to come home too. I want us all to be the same happy family that we used to be. We can live in Graham's house, and we can be happy again. You will both be safe there, I will make sure of it. No harm will ever come to either of you again. It is breaking my heart to not have you there. I miss you both and it hurts that I was the one to do this to our family, I told him. I need Kevin to be on board with this, because if he agrees to come back, then Cheryl will as well. She did all this to protect him from death. She will come back to me if he is willing to come back too. I just want Mom to be happy and loved. For her to have someone in her corner that she can trust. Someone that won't just believe the very worst about her when a rumor comes around. Someone who will keep her safe even as he checks into it so he can protect her. That is what I want for my mom. She was strong, but you and Graham beat her down, day after day, to where I was just as scared for her well-being as she was for mine. Her decline was apparent to anyone who cared enough to be paying attention to it. She didn't become a walking skeleton overnight. Yet she kept pushing ahead with all she had to try to protect me. I started training at first to get your approval, Dad, but I figured out pretty quickly that I wasn't going to get it. I kept at it because my mother needed to be protected, and I did my best. But Graham made sure to keep me busy and away from her, as soon as he saw what I was doing. I was not going to allow the only person who has always shown me the greatest amount of love to be killed right in front of me. If I could have driven us away from there after we got free, I would have, because I knew she was very weak. We both knew time was of the essence for us to escape. I didn't come in here to stop you from asking her back. I can see that you are sorry, now. But for me, it is far, Far too late for you to be sorry. You shamed me every day as you made it clear that you did not accept me, as I was not your son. Well, you are correct now, Alpha Blake, because I am no longer your son. I refuse you as my father because a real father wouldn't have done that to a 10-year-old little boy who needed him so much. A son who needed his father to take his blinders off, before he ruined not one, but two close relationships. Forrest and I almost look like twins. He just got your coloring, Kevin said, and I opened my mouth to tell him that I do know that he is my son, and I love him, but he stopped me. Don't, okay, just don't say it. I know you want to speak, to tell me your side of it, but I just came in here to say my piece. I don't need to hear a recap of "it's all Graham's fault" when you were completely on board with the whole thing, from the start. I also don't need to hear that we can be a big happy family again when my brother still wants to kill me. He just isn't strong enough to do it. I just came in here to let my mother know that no matter what she decides to do, whether it is to go back to the pack with you or stay here at Blackadder, I will always love and support her because she has always loved and supported me. I didn't come in here to stop her, as I am very happy here, and if they will allow me to stay, I would love that. But I am old enough to take care of myself now. I will be 15 soon, and I am used to having to protect both me and Mom. I am older than my years because I was pushed to have to grow up quickly with the target I had on me. Plus, Mom can come and visit me here. Once I get my license, I can meet you halfway, Mom. I would actually like to get to see Robert and Casey on occasion. But I have my friends, and I already know that I can be a warrior here. Justin said that I could probably be a training warrior, or even lead warriors if I keep at it. You got me to safety, Mom, and I will always love you for it. I just don't want you to suffer for not being able to see your other children, because you felt it was one or the other. I know that Blake will not be letting them come here if you are not willing to return to him. They are his only bargaining chip, and I know you miss them, Mom, Kevin said, and I am amazed at how adult he is about this. He was right, that was my only real line to tug here, and I was planning on using it. I will let your mom see them, Kevin, and you too. I will not keep them away from the both of you. I can bring them with me next month if you want. I know that your mom will take some time to convince to come back to me. I am aware of just how badly I have screwed this whole thing up. I know that it will take years for us to get back to where we used to be. I don't think that she is willing to come back at all right now, even for the other three. But maybe one day she will, and I have hope for that day. I want to keep trying to come and spend time with you both. I am trying to train Forrest, but that is slow going right now. I do have high hopes for him, so I can get to spend extra time with your mother, Kevin. I was completely wrong for my actions. I just hope that you will give me an opportunity to show you both, just how sorry I am. Please give me a chance to show you that things will be completely different, from now on, I asked them. I am praying that they say yes, because hearing my son deny me, and refuse me as his father, cut me to the core. I can see how he felt now, and I know that he was speaking the truth. He was so calm right now, I can tell how much I hurt him with my actions. It was like I was dead to him now. He honestly didn't care if he hurt me or not, with what he said. He did, a great deal in fact. I have made my decision, and I don't need any extra time from you. But if you want to speak with me on your next trip, I will do that. I have no expectations in this, as it doesn't matter that you have changed now, the damage is done. You can't shatter a cup and it be the same when you glue it back together, because it isn't. It is now filled with the cracks of being broken. You may be able to use it. It can still provide a service, but it will never be the same again. Also, I wanted to tell you that Forrest is going to drive your pack into the ground. Mom told me about you tricking Graham into putting his password in and you changing it on him. That was good, but you need to be careful. You do not need to give Forrest access to the money. He will go through it like it was water. I can tell you now that he is going to destroy your pack. You will be needing that money to try to rebuild it when he brings war to your door. My brother Forrest is a petty and vicious person. Robert will be a better choice for Alpha. Kevin told me and then turned to leave the room. After the door shut, I heard Cheryl's soft voice tell me, "I warned you, Blake. I mentioned the consequences of your actions many times. You can come here and visit with Kevin whenever you want to, I will not stop you, but you have to stay in our pack land. Even though you hurt him badly, he still wants to have your approval. I told you weeks ago, and in my letter, that I would not be coming back to Black Moon, for any reason. I did love you, I still love you. That is why you were able to hurt me so deeply. But I cannot sign up to be hurt like that again. Time will heal my pain, and then I will move forward. I can assure you that you can go ahead and leave Max alone though. I do not feel the same way as he does about getting into a relationship with him. I am not ready to be in one with anyone. I have some deep-seated trust issues now because of you. It is going to take a lot of time to work through them. You showed me that I just can't depend on just my love to be enough anymore. I need respect, compassion, communication, and most of all trust. Trust in the fact that they have my back, that they love me, and want to be with me. Trust that they would not cheat on me, or break me apart, on a whim. Someone who can make me laugh, and make me feel like he cannot see another. Someone who will protect me from harm, and feel the same way about me, as I do for him. I do not know what the future will hold for me, but I do know that our relationship will never go back to what it was before. You made absolutely sure of that." Chapter 150 Anton's POV. A little over 1 year later, Blackadder Pack. I finally got some good news today. Brandon is letting me build my own home on his pack land. I feel like it is about time to tell Cheryl how I feel. I have gone so slowly with her because I knew that she was very fragile. She had been broken so badly, and she didn't know who to trust. So she only trusted a handful of people. I was glad that at least my rivalry with Max had finally come to a close. He would not let up, he tried to cause us problems all the time. He would not accept the fact that Cheryl liked him as a friend, and nothing more. I finally had to search his memories to see why he wouldn't leave her alone. It turned out that Cheryl looked very similar to his deceased mate, who had been killed. It made sense for him to be so overcome with emotions, as seeing her coming in, unconscious like that, must have brought back some bad memories. It must have brought all his pent-up feelings for his mate up to the surface, and he just applied them to Cheryl. I couldn't fault him for it. But I could fault him for continuing to chase after her when Cheryl had told him numerous times that she didn't feel the same way for him as he did for her. Thankfully, the goddess sent him a second-chance mate. Jackie was a pretty she-wolf with dark red hair and green eyes, and she loved Max from the moment that she saw him. He thinks that she hung the moon, and they were cute together. I have to admit that I was so happy when Jackie arrived. It was a long time in coming, and Max and I were building up for us to be coming to blows soon when she arrived. She came into the hospital to be treated for her injuries after her small pack had been attacked. The survivors had been split between Blackadder, Bloodwalker, and the Blue Moon Pack near Bloodwalker. The rest was history as soon as they looked into their eyes. I hate to say it, but I was probably the happiest of all when it happened. Max was not even thinking about Cheryl anymore, and I was delighted about that. I wished them both well. Unfortunately for me, Blake is still coming here every single month and he is not pulling any punches. He refuses to give up, and he is not happy about the amount of time that I am spending around here. Too bad for him I am not a normal, or a new, vampire. He doesn't scare me at all, and I am not afraid to fight for what I want. I can go out in sunlight, just not for long periods of time, usually about 2 hours is the max that I can stay out in it. I just avoided it previously because people like to think they know about vampires, and I didn't mind playing into the whole sun avoidance thing. We usually keep that to ourselves, as that is the kind of surprise that is beneficial for us. Not so much for the unsuspecting person we are about shock. It is a common myth that we cannot be in it at all. Some of us have even spread that rumor before, just messing with people. But it is incorrect as far as we were concerned. It actually depends on your bloodline and heritage. Our line is strong on both sides. Some weaker families can still get in the sun, but it is more around 30 minutes of sun exposure. They were all stunned when I showed up at Blackadder for lunch one day. It was about 3 months after the vampire attack at Blood Tracker and the incident at Black Moon when they got to confront Graham. I remember the day very well because it was the day that I met Kevin over 9 months ago. He was not scared of me at all, not from the first meeting, but his friends all knew me, as they had been around me numerous times, and they still try to race me to see who is the fastest to this day. I don't go full speed, but they cannot keep up with me. Jax will be an excellent alpha, he and his brothers are all great kids. Jax being the next alpha is what allows me to have the faith that I have in being safe here in this pack even after Brandon retires and steps down. Jax, Liam, Chase, and Dex will all be excellent leaders in this pack, and Kevin fits right in with them. When Brandon led me into the dining room to meet with them, they were all surprised to see me. Blake was the least happy to see me on this visit. I didn't know that he would be here either. Kevin motions to his brother to move down a seat at the table, to give his seat to me to sit in. There was only one seat left at the table, and it was on the opposite end from where Cheryl was. I know that had to hurt Blake as he watched everyone shift down to make room for me at the table. Especially the fact that I kept my expression neutral, even though I wanted to look over Cheryl's head and give Blake a smirk. But I am the oldest one here, and I will have to act the part. I let everyone talk over me and just thought about the reason for my visit today. I was going to see about asking Cheryl out for dinner, on our very first date. I will also be making sure that she has some tennis shoes to change into for a moonlight walk before bringing her home. I hear Kevin's animated talking and he makes me smile. He is a good kid. I know that is more because of Cheryl than Blake. I knew that their oldest child and their youngest take after Blake the most. Kevin had been greatly interested in me from the moment that we met. He loved to ask questions about my family and wanted to learn about me. He was impressed with me, instead of afraid of me, like most are when they find out what I am. I was very impressed by him, and I answered each one of his questions patiently. When I glanced up at Cheryl that day to finally take her in, she mouthed, "Thank you" at me. I don't know if it was for me enjoying Kevin's excitement at meeting a vampire for the first time, or for answering all of his questions, but either way, I was just happy that she was glad to see me. That first day that I met Kevin, I was bringing something important to Brandon, from Alexei. I believed it at first, but when I handed it to Brandon, instead of immediately opening it and going through it, he put it on the table next to him. No one seemed interested in what was in the package. I started watching them all. They even left me and Cheryl alone and went to the office, still without opening the package. They told me to wait, and I did, with Cheryl, as we hung out and went for a walk in the woods together. It kept me out of the direct sunlight for the most part, and I got to spend some extra time with her. We were out there for 3 hours just walking around, just enjoying being together. We talked a little, but most of the time we just walked side by side. It was one of the most enjoyable times I have spent with a woman. That was the second time that I saw the little stream and the small bridge that covered it. I have always liked the area, and that particular area seemed to be the most calming for me. I started being the go-between for our packs, and there was suddenly much more paperwork that needed to go back and forth all of a sudden. Raven was always smiling at us. She tried to not make it obvious that she was watching, but she was so happy with us as we started to talk seriously to each other. I guess she forgot that I could read minds. She didn't even try to hide it. She was so excited that her plan to get us together had worked. I worked hard to keep from letting her know that she had been found out. That means that Brandon, Justin, and my brother Alexei were all a part of it too. I kept playing along on their end, but I told Alexei that I knew about their plan the moment that I arrived back at our home. Alexei told me that he just wanted me to be happy and that they did too. I was actually happy that we had people supporting us in our relationship, and that they wanted us both to be happy. I started being the go-between for our packs, and there was suddenly much more paperwork that needed to go back and forth all of a sudden. Raven was always smiling at us. She tried to not make it obvious that she was watching, but she was so happy with us as we started to talk seriously to each other. I guess she forgot that I could read minds. She didn't even try to hide it. She was so excited that her plan to get us together had worked. I worked hard to keep from letting her know that she had been found out. That means that Brandon, Justin, and my brother Alexei were all a part of it too. I kept playing along on their end, but I told Alexei that I knew about their plan the moment that I arrived back at our home. Alexei told me that he just wanted me to be happy and that they did too. I was actually happy that we had people supporting us in our relationship, and that they wanted us both to be happy. I was glad that we had so much backing in this. Most do not support wolves and vampires mating. Werewolves tended to stay to themselves. We did too, but out of the three of us, we would sometimes wander into tasting the forbidden fruit. Probably because of our long lifespans. I have known some witches that have done that as well. Sometimes when you live for centuries, you don't mind giving it a try. I have to say that I was excited about the option of finally having a child. I didn't spend a lot of time out dating, I just never found very many women that interested me. There were just a few ladies that were interesting enough to hold a good conversation, and attractive enough to keep my eye. I have never really had a real relationship, just those occasional hookups with the same 4 women until they either met their mates or died. I can count on one hand how many women I have been with, in the last 450 years. My brother calls me a saint, but we both know that is a lie. I am nowhere near a saint. I would rather skip the drama that some of them brought me, especially Lauren, who decided Draven was a better fit for her and her needs. Her needs were things, not actual feelings. I am just thankful that it happened toward the start of the relationship. She burned me, and I have guarded my heart ever since. Non-beating as it is, I still protect it. Secondly, I am just as vicious as my brother is in a fight. I just chose to kill an opponent quickly, instead of playing with them. That is a mistake, and I try not to give anyone the opportunity to catch me off guard. I am in no way a saint, and I wish he would stop calling me that. Blake has been bringing their children over twice a month now, the younger ones anyway. He always plays it like they want to see their mom. Robert enjoys the visits and the time to see Kevin. Casey is on her phone the majority of the time, and she is pouting because Blake started giving her a set allowance now, instead of just buying her whatever she wants. She knows that the suggestion had come from her mom, as she is worried that Casey will be spoiled, but I am sorry to tell her that she already is. Cheryl warned him several times about it, but he continued spoiling his youngest child, and the only girl, a lot. Stopping it now though is creating a monster. I already know this because I can read minds. Every time she catches me looking at her, she gives an innocent smile, but she is a devious little creature. Her father cannot see it because she is her mother made over, and that may be part of the problem. He is spoiling her when he can't spoil Cheryl. I know it has to be hard for him to say no to her, but he needs to. Reagan was right when she warned him to not do his daughter as Graham did her. He didn't listen, as he has been doing this for a few years now, never curbing her insistence on what she has to have into just getting her what she needs. This is going to pose a problem, and soon, but I am not going to be the one who tells Cheryl about it. I only read Casey's mind because the feeling I got from her was off. I didn't know if it was because Blake was trying to poison her against me, or if she just hated vampires. But she honestly didn't care about me at all. I was not even in her atmosphere. I was in another galaxy and she could really care less about it. The bad part was that she didn't care about her mom either. She cared about the money she was going to get once she was done with the visit. Her dad gave her $300 extra for each visit if she did well. Cheryl would be disappointed if she knew, but I didn't want to hurt her by telling her. I still haven't seen Forrest yet, he is always too busy with stuff to come. I hate saying it, but I do not feel like I am missing anything. I think Robert is a pretty good kid, he loves his brother and Cheryl, but he misses Kevin more than his mother. Apparently, they shared a room, and they used to make up stories in the dark before falling asleep. That is what Robert misses the most, but Kevin had to make it clear that he was not going to be coming back. I know Kevin is a great child, unassuming and calm. He figures things out, and frankly, he should have been the firstborn child for Cheryl and Blake. He is wise beyond his years, and I am so proud of him. He is 15 and a half now, and he is a very fierce fighter. I have trained him in some styles too. He loves a new challenge and he got one as I can anticipate moves. I was the one to teach him to not think about it, to not project what he is about to do. I taught him to just let his muscle memory work for him, not against him. It was slow going at first. I waited a few months to start visiting her. I wanted her to get her strength back, and truthfully I wanted to see if she missed me. We talked on the phone and texted back and forth, but it was not the same as getting to see her beautiful face. She is just as hesitant as I am with this because I do not know where this is going to go. It is unusual for us to be so attracted to each other, but the feeling is so strong for me. I have never loved anyone more than I love Cheryl. She is the world to me, and I want to be with her all the time. I do not allow myself to read her mind, to see what she feels for me. I feel like it would be an invasion of her privacy to do it, and I flatly refused to cheat on this. I understand as I was hurt too, so we are both proceeding slowly. I haven't even kissed her yet, but I was hoping that I will soon. I know that she knows I care for her. She just doesn't know how much I care for her. She also doesn't want to hurt Blake because they are still marked. I had been told that she had rejected him already, but he refused to accept it. I am going to have her help me design my home. Because I value her opinion, and because I wanted her and Kevin to come and live with me, here at Blackadder. I want her input into my home because it will be her home too. I want her to be happy with it. I am spending the night tonight, and I wanted to walk with her tonight as we stroll to the approved areas that have been cleared for the approved buildings. There was one area, in particular, that I wanted to visit. Because I know that Blake did it for me, he cleared an area for us to put a home that was about 4,000 sq ft. It was built near that stream with a little bridge over it. I had been here before, on the second visit that Alexei and I had made here to Blackadder. I liked the spot immediately and mentioned that fact to Brandon as he was showing us his property. We need things a little darker in our world, as I cannot spend all day in the sun. I will still need some time in a darker, more private, area. The canopy of trees kept the area cool, and away from visitors. We would not be having neighbors around us, as Blake had taken care of that by only clearing a certain area for the house. The stream, and the little bridge to cross it, were not going to be hurt or disrupted with our home being built near them. Most of the pack members wouldn't want me moving in next door to them anyway. Although they put up with us, and know we have a treaty with them, they will not want me in the pack. But to have Cheryl with me, I am willing to come and live here. Plus the coven is less than 15 minutes away. I can go there quickly if needed. I feel a squeeze on my hand and looked down in surprise to see that Cheryl is holding my hand. She was watching me when I looked from our joined hands up to her face. I can see that Blake is pissed off, but I cannot stop the smile that crosses my face. People are still talking at the table, and I hope that tonight will be our first kiss. I need to calm down and see if she will go out with me first. Cheryl, would you do me the honor of going out with me for dinner tonight? I asked her in a low tone. I already knew that Blake was pissed, why push him? I am not scared of him, but their children are here with us, and if they see me go to fight him, 2 of them might get frightened. Kevin has seen me fight, and I would bet money on the fact that he would like to see me and his dad go at it. My mate will not be going anywhere with you, disgusting parasite. You probably can't even eat. Isn't all you do is suck the blood out of people, right? Are you planning on sucking blood from my mate? Is that your plan, you sick bastard? She will not be going out with you anywhere, because she belongs to me, Blake said in a very loud tone, I guess trying to get others upset along with him. He knows to push the issue as she is a wolf, and me a vampire. He is obvious in his attempt to try to sow discord between us. But I love her, I absolutely love her, and I will not allow him to hurt her again. I guess he needs to learn a hard lesson today. I am not going to allow him to upset Cheryl, or try to apply pressure to keep us apart any longer. I stood up too, and I am still holding Cheryl's hand. I hated letting go of it, as she was the one to make the first move, but I can't allow her to be in danger here. I moved Cheryl behind me as I knew his type. He is a bully, and that is what bullies do. He thinks that I am just going to let this pass, that I won't ask him to step outside, and he would be incorrect about that. The second I stood up, Justin got up and started getting the children away from the table, taking them down to run the courses. Brandon put Raven behind him, and I know he was linking both Truett and Leander to come to the dining room. Brandon has seen me fight, and he knows that this will not be good for Blackadder, or Black Moon. I know that this could start a war between them, but I don't think that Blake will do it. Not with Cheryl and Kevin still living here. We might fight, but once he sees that the sun is not going to hurt me, not like he thinks it will, I think he will finally realize that he messed up. Blake, she was your mate, but you have been apart for a while now. She rejected you at the gate, you just refused to accept it. It is up to her to decide if she wants to go out with Anton, or not. It is just a date, not the end of the world. You wouldn't even let her answer him. You need to think about this more before you decide to do this, Brandon said carefully to Blake. He is trying his best to calm Blake down, but that is not working right now, I made sure of it. I stepped right into Blake's line of vision and blocked his view of Cheryl from him. I did it deliberately. He thinks he can push me around, but I am done playing the nice guy with him. I have had to hear comments for almost a year about my species being inferior, at least in his eyes. He makes assumptions about me that are not true. I have been patient, but I think that now that I am willing to show her who I am, she needs to see the whole of it. That way she can make an informed decision, so she knows exactly who she is getting into a relationship with. She needs to know what to expect from me, and that it is not going to be like she thought it was. I have strength and power too, I am just not as muscled up as these alpha men. That doesn't mean that I am weak, and I think that it is time to show it. Chapter 151 Cheryl's POV. I was happy to see Anton show up. I tried to check him out through my lashes without getting caught, but it was tough with Blake sitting right next to me. I was happy when Kevin made everyone next to him shift down, so Anton could sit next to me and not at the end of the table where the free chair was. Kevin and I have had a lot of talks recently. He is very observant, and last week he finally said, "Mom, when are you going to tell Anton that you like him?" I was stunned because I have been trying to hide it, as Anton has not approached me like that. I don't know if he likes me still, as he didn't come here for a few months, and he is nothing but polite and respectful to me. He hasn't even tried to kiss me yet, so I don't know if he is interested in me, or not. "What are you talking about, Kevin? We don't like each other like that," I stuttered out. "Mom, we all know it. It is just you and Anton that think you are fooling people with it. You are always looking at each other, and away. You two are like teenagers, just not cool. I am okay with it. Even Blake knows you like Anton. That is why he hates him and tries to keep you apart. It is the reason that he comes twice a month, instead of once a month. Blake knows that the longer you are around Anton, the bigger the likelihood that he will end up getting the same pain he caused you for months," Kevin told me. I am shocked, as I didn't teach him that yet. I was going to wait until he was 16 to have that talk with him. "Where did you learn that?" I asked him. He seemed very sure of what he was saying, and he was probably totally correct. That was something out of Blake's playbook. He would want me more, to keep me away from other men. "School," Kevin said and shrugged like it was no big deal. "Look, Mom, you deserve to be happy. Anton makes you happy. You smile at me because you love me. You light up when you see Anton coming. Anyone present can see it, including Blake. I think you need to think about honestly being happy, all the time. Where you get to be loved and appreciated. I like Anton too, he is a great guy, and he is a fighter. I know I could grow to love him, given more of a chance to be around him, but you don't need to do this for me. You have done enough for me, you need to do this for yourself because you deserve to be happy. What is the point of living a miserable life? Maybe you can get Blake to finally accept the rejection at that point. He may just need a taste of his own medicine. Because there is no purpose in continuing this charade any longer. Just think about it, okay? I want you to think about what you want. Not what Blake wants. But what you want to see the rest of your life look like," Kevin told me. How in the heck is he so smart? I know that he had to grow up fast, but he is wise well beyond his years. So, I did think about it. I was actually thinking about him while Blake went on and on about some pack problem at Black Moon. I was bored out of my mind. When I sensed Anton and looked up. His smile melts a piece of my frozen heart every time I see it. I wanted to get up and run over to him, hug him, and tell him that I would like us to see where this goes. I have wasted years pining away over Blake. I have told him repeatedly that we won't be getting back like he wants us to. He refuses to listen to me, or what I have to say. It was like unless I said something that he wanted to hear, he just didn't want to hear anything from me at all. Maybe Kevin was right, maybe after Blake gets a taste of his own medicine, maybe he will accept the rejection, and move on. I was bolder today, and I knew that Anton was just as bored with what Blake was droning on about, as I was. So I reached out and took his hand in mine. It was a small act, but I saw that beautiful smile come out again, and it was like the sun came out after a week of rain. When his eyes rose to mine, I could see that he felt the same thing I did. We had both been scared to pursue it, because of what others might say about us. I wasn't worried about it anymore. When he asked me out, I wanted to scream out my answer, but before I could open my mouth, Blake had to try to ruin the moment between us and attempted to answer Anton for me. I hated that he still tries to control me. Over and over again he still tries to force me to bend to his will. It hits me that this has been how our relationship has been from the very start. He flattered me, and then he spent our whole relationship doing what he wanted, and then apologizing to me for it after the fact. I didn't realize what was going on at the time because I loved him. I would do anything for him to make him happy, so I always forgave him. I was his perfect mate, even if he wasn't my perfect mate. Always with an excuse, or reason for why he did it. I am staggered by how totally different they are. Anton was quick to rise to my defense and put me protectively behind him, showing me that he will keep me safe. He was immediate in his reaction to Blake's aggression, and not scared of Blake at all. I know that this is going to end in a fight. I am worried about Anton as I have never seen him fight. In that incident last year, he was immediately stabbed in his heart with a silver blade before he could even protect us. I do not want him to get hurt. Just remembering what Draven did to him hurts my heart. Blake trains a lot, he is proud of his body and enjoys showing it off. It didn't bother me that he did that until the cheating started, then it did. Because he grew a harem out of the women approaching him, and wanting to help him teach me a lesson, because of my cheating. I want to warn Anton about Blake being a pretty good fighter, but when I leaned forward to whisper it in his ear, he just grabbed for my hand again, and said, "Lead the way, Blake." Raven is the only person who seems excited to see this. Brandon looks worried. We passed my brother, Leander, and Truett on the way into the entry hall to exit the pack house. I see Stella heading towards us quickly and heading straight for Raven. They are besties and tell each other everything. I heard, "Showdown," from Stella, and Raven nodded at her with a smile. They are both excited, but I am worried about Anton. Blake seems very confident, and I do not want Anton to get hurt. He had finally asked me out, and I wanted our relationship to progress now, not completely stop. We were at the back of the group with Blake right behind Brandon as he led the way to the training area for the fight to take place. "Anton, I want to go out with you. I like you, you don't have to do this. Blake is a strong fighter. I have never seen you fight, and I am worried about you," I told him, and Anton stopped walking and turned to look into my eyes. It seemed like he was searching for something. A slow smile grew across his face, and before I could say anything he gently placed his hands on my face with his thumbs in front of my ears and cupped my jaw in his palms as his fingers dug into my hair, and he gives me the hottest kiss of my life. His thumbs gently stroked my cheeks as his tongue worked its magic inside my mouth. I slid closer into him and wrapped my arms around his neck and gave his shoulder-length hair a tug, and he moaned into my mouth. I smiled into the kiss, as I liked him letting me know that he liked that. Our kiss ended too quickly as a loud roar wrapped around us, and when we broke apart, I see that Blake is furious. The whole group was staring at us, some were surprised, and others were clearly happy about it. Raven and Stella couldn't be grinning any bigger than they already were, and certainly the most pleased out of everyone. My brother seemed embarrassed to meet my eyes, as if the sight of me kissing was too personal for him to have witnessed, and Truett said, "Calm down, Blake. You had your chance and you blew it, looks like she has made a new choice." Blake got even madder at hearing that sarcastic comment, and Truett shrugged at Brandon while he glared at him. Truett had been known to say the wrong thing, at the wrong time. But he wasn't wrong this time. I could not stop smiling myself, and as we continued walking towards the training area, another growl came from Blake as he smelled my arousal. The way Anton was grinning, I am pretty sure he smelled it too. Our kiss ended too quickly as a loud roar wrapped around us, and when we broke apart, I see that Blake is furious. The whole group was staring at us, some were surprised, and others were clearly happy about it. Raven and Stella couldn't be grinning any bigger than they already were, and certainly the most pleased out of everyone. My brother seemed embarrassed to meet my eyes, as if the sight of me kissing was too personal for him to have witnessed, and Truett said, "Calm down, Blake. You had your chance and you blew it, looks like she has made a new choice." Blake got even madder at hearing that sarcastic comment, and Truett shrugged at Brandon while he glared at him. Truett had been known to say the wrong thing, at the wrong time. But he wasn't wrong this time. I could not stop smiling myself, and as we continued walking towards the training area, another growl came from Blake as he smelled my arousal. The way Anton was grinning, I am pretty sure he smelled it too. Blake went to the circle, and immediately took his shirt off. His impressive physique showed for everyone to look at, but my eyes were on Anton. I know that Blake took his shirt off because he wanted to force Anton to do it too and get his skin burned. I will admit that Blake is still a very attractive man, his six-pack is well defined, with his V-cut running into his jeans, and he looked good. He did, but after having time away from him, I am no longer interested in him anymore. Blake is no longer the total package for me. I watched as Anton took his time unbuttoning his shirt, with his eyes staying on me, which was the thing that I have ever seen. He watched me intently as he undid each button, and I was getting worked up. He seemed very pleased at my reaction as he took his shirt off, then slid it off his shoulders and walked up to me to have me hold it for him while he fought. Blake's growl of anger didn't seem to worry Anton at all. He kept his back to him, which was a huge sign of disrespect in our world. It was like a slap in the face, and Anton is not starting off well in this. Blake was spoiling to hurt him, and I was praying that he wouldn't be hurt. I had to stop myself from bringing Anton's shirt to my nose to take in his scent. It was doing things to me, and I didn't want this feeling to ever stop. Anton was standing in front of me, and he didn't seem to be in any hurry to get into the ring. He seemed to be waiting on something, and I didn't care what it was. I was content with standing here and looking at his handsome face as long as he wanted me to. I could help myself, I had to check him out. I couldn't control my eyes as they dropped down to take his body in. He was strong, but about 40 pounds lighter than Blake. His strong shoulders narrowed down at his tapered waist, and he was gorgeous. He had a strong swimmer's body, as opposed to the bulky muscles that Blake had. I wanted to run my hand across his chest, and I reached out, but thankfully Raven cleared her throat from next to me, and I realized that our kids were heading this way. I heard vehicles approaching, and the first one was Blake's SUV with 3 warriors in it, followed by another SUV. The doors opened up and I saw that Dmitri had been driving and Alexei was in the passenger seat. Kira and Nadia emerged from the back seat and Ivan and Adrik came out of the back. Adrik and Ivan quickly put up a pop-up tent as the women grabbed 6 chairs from the back of the SUV. They had everything done in about 3 minutes. They were really efficient. Anton must have linked them as soon as the fight came up in the dining room. "It has been a minute since I have seen you fight," so we came to watch. Plus, if either of you gets hurt, we can fix it for you." I heard Alexei's smooth voice ring out as they all got comfortable in their chairs. They had set up where there was a gap in the people to watch the fight. Blake's warriors were behind him, and Casey was too. She seemed a little anxious, but this was what her father wanted to do. It wasn't on Anton. I bit my lip in guilt, thinking that she was probably going to blame me for this as well. Just like the allowance being lowered to $300 a month. Who needs that much money at 11 years old? It is too much. She needs to save it, not keep spending it. Blake gives her, and Forrest whatever they ask for. Thankfully, Robert is content with what he has. She shouldn't blame you at all, this was what he wanted. He thinks that because I am smaller than him, he has the upper hand. Do not worry about me, my love. I will be fine, Anton told me as he turned to finally face Blake, and enter the ring. I am still worried about him, but I enjoyed watching him walk confidently into the circle for the fight to be started. Blake was looking at me, and he is even angrier. I realized that I am holding Anton's shirt up to my face and breathing in his scent to try to calm myself down. When did this happen? How is everything about Anton suddenly seeming so perfect to me? It was like a blanket I have been under for so long had been ripped off of me, and I can see everything clearly for the first time. I have been interested in him since he winked at me over a year ago. I marked him off as being a flirt at first, but I have never seen him wink at anyone else since then. It has only been for me. I have to say that it brings me joy to know that he cares for me. I worry now that the fury on Blake's face will lead to Anton being hurt. It will all be my fault if that happens. I look up to see Alexei looking down at me with a smile. I have no idea when he walked up to me, and I was a little startled by his sudden appearance next to me. Alexei's smile grew even bigger and he said, "Do not worry about Anton. He knew you were still scared for him in this fight, don't be. I can assure you that your former mate will be the one who will lose, not my little brother. Anton can be vicious, he was wanting to tell you that he can handle himself on the way over here. But it seems like you stopped for something else, rather than to talk. He wanted me to tell you that it will all be fine soon, and to close your eyes if you get scared. Thank you for telling me that, I was actually very worried about him. I have seen Blake fight before, and he takes it seriously. Plus, he is bigger than Anton, and I do not want him to be hurt on my account. I care for him a lot," I told Alexei with my eyes fixed on Anton. He looks over at me and gives me a wink, and I could not stop the smile from covering my face. Blake saw it and decided that it was time to fight, and ran straight at Anton before the fight officially started. My eyes filled with horror as I see that Blake's intent here is to try to kill Anton. I will not allow it. I went to step forward as I was going to phase and take care of this myself. I felt an arm reach out in front of me to stop me. I looked up at Alexei, and he shook his head. Then nodded at the sparring circle. Blake is lying on the ground, and Anton was looking down at him from the other side of the ring. That was smart to distance himself from Blake. If Blake can't win by his own merit, he is good with throwing dirt or sand in his opponent's eyes to get the upper hand. I held onto Anton's shirt, and before I knew it, I was sniffing it again. His scent calms me, and as Blake hopped up and ran at Anton again, I heard Alexei say, "I am glad it is you." I looked up at him confused for a moment, before looking back at the circle. "What do you mean?" I asked as I watched them land punches and blows on each other. Anton was much lighter on his feet and he was doing a great job. He was wearing Blake down, as he was mindful of the telegraphing that Blake was doing. Blake was so mad, at just the thought of Anton wanting to go out with me, that he is not focusing on this fight at all. He needs to, because we both learned that Anton was no pushover, he was just a kind man who didn't bully others. But he was not going to allow Blake to keep controlling me. I am glad that he stepped up and let me know. I have a feeling that we will have a very good night. Anton literally froze in place in the circle and seemed to be a little dazed for a moment. I realized that he was probably reading my mind, and knew that I wanted to have S*X with him. Blake knew that something had happened to him, and decided that he was going to use it to his advantage and attack Anton. I didn't even hesitate. I threw myself towards the ring and phased into Akela as my clothes shredded around me. Blake slid to a stop as I stood in front of Anton, and let out a growl that let everyone present know that I meant business. As the daughter of a Gamma, I was strong, just like other ranked wolves. I was larger than an average wolf. My head came up to Anton's chest. I stared fiercely at Blake and let him know that the fight was over. They both had bruises, and cuts all over them, from Blake using his claws to hurt Anton, and Anton using his sharp nails to hurt Blake as well. Neither of them wanted it to end. I think they both fancied the thought of killing the other, but that was not going to be happening today. I can see the disappointment and sadness on Blake's face as his shoulders slumped. He knew that this was my answer before he threatened Anton. He tried to force my decision, and I was done with allowing him to have any further control. I had told him time after time that it was done, that I was done. He kept thinking that if he kept the pressure up on me, that I would bend to his will again like I used to do. But I don't have to anymore. I am safe here, as is my son. I don't have to keep having to accept a love that has conditions and requirements on it. I want one that is constant and permanent, with no stipulations put on me for it to continue. Just a love that I can depend on, no matter what happens. Blake said, "Please, do not do this, Cheryl. I love you, and I want us to be able to get past this. You do not need to go out with him. You know I have been waiting for you to come home for over a year. I need you to come back. I miss you every day. Please do not make a rash decision that could tear us apart." I felt Anton's fingers stroke through my fur and I closed my eyes as it felt wonderful. More intimate to me than anything that Blake and I did in our 15 years of being mated. Everything was different, and more special now to me because it was Anton. Raven walked up and I phased back and slid Anton's shirt on to cover myself. I watched as Blake's lips thinned out, but he didn't yell or fuss at me like I thought he was going to. He would rather that I am covered, even if he hated the man to whom the shirt belonged. "Blake, you act like it is my actions that tore us apart. You were the one to do it, not me. It was your own actions that ended us, not mine. I have told you over and over again that we are through. Just because you don't want to accept it, doesn't make it any less true. I think it is hilarious that you say please don't do this, and tell me not to make a rash decision that would tear us apart. Those words seem familiar to me, like something I had said to you before. I am done. There is no need to visit. Robert can come and stay to keep in touch with Kevin, but Forrest doesn't want to come, and neither does Casey. I wish you would accept my rejection. Don't hold on to me because of stubbornness. Just let me go, Blake. You know that we are through, you know that I will be with Anton, sooner or later. I would suggest you accept it now, so we can finish this here before you leave," I told him. His anger is all over his face and the hateful look on his face tells me that he will not be accepting it at all. "I will not release you, Cheryl. You are mine and always will be. You will come back to your senses, once you realize that he is not a man, but a monster. The fact that you would even consider a leech as a boyfriend, disgusts me. You cannot be serious about it. I will be at Black Moon once you come to common sense again. I just can't see this working out, for either of you. His fellow parasites won't accept it, and neither will the wolves. If you thought that you were an outcast before, just wait, because you haven't seen anything yet. I cannot believe that you don't want me anymore. I guess this is just your being hurt and acting out. I will wait for you, but do not test my patience, Cheryl. I will take 2 she-wolves into my bed, and see what kind of pain I can give you before I would let you go. I would rather kill you than lose you to this, Blake said and motioned to Anton, who snarls and stepped forward to kill Blake. I could see it in his eyes. I placed my hand on Anton's bare chest and he stilled under my touch and looked down at me. I shook my head at him to tell him we didn't need to do anything else with Blake. I watched as Blake gave a smirk at us like I was scared he was going to kill Anton. I didn't stop him because I was scared for Anton. I wanted Blake to think he had won. I will be enjoying this night much more than I originally thought I would. You look good in my shirt, Cheryl. Are you still good with going out with me tonight? Anton asked me. Yes, I would love to go out with you, I told him as I started making plans in my head for tonight. I agreed to go out, but I knew Blake. If we left the safety of Blackadder, we would be stopped. I would probably be kidnapped and taken back to Black Moon, and Anton probably killed by the men he would be bringing with him. I am not on board with that. It is not going to be happening. But I believe that we can have a nice dinner in my apartment. That would work out fine for us because I know for a fact that tonight will be the night that Blake learns what it feels like for your mate to betray you with another. I have a feeling that I was going to have a very good night. Chapter 152 Cheryl's POV. I made plans all the way back to the pack house. Raven was having Kevin spend the night with the boys on the alpha floor. Anton went home to freshen up, change clothes and pack a small bag to spend the night. I asked him to pack a bag for tonight, but I wanted us to just sleep together, not necessarily have S*X, but I will see how it goes. If he kisses me like that again, I will be a goner and putty in his hands. It would be embarrassing for me to have to spell it out for him, so I tried to say it, without actually saying it. I also asked Alexei what would be the best choice for dinner for Anton. He didn't give me a smirk, he seemed very pleased that I was thoughtful enough to ask. He knew I did it because I cared for his brother. Before he could answer, I could hear a familiar voice behind me. You can get him a steak, rare, a little blood on the plate is good. A baked potato, salad, or asparagus, just pick one of those. He won't be needing a lot of food. I will make sure he brings a bag or 2 of blood with him to keep his energy up. I would also suggest that you get a power smoothie for energy for yourself. You are going to need it, our men are known for their stamina. Take your vitamins, honey, you are going to have a very good night. Nadia said, and she gave me a wink before she slid into the SUV to leave. Yeah, she is serious about that, all her points were accurate. Don't overthink it, Anton has been waiting for you to know how he truly felt about you for over a year now. He is happy just to be with you, in whatever way you two decide to be for now. No pressure, just take it how it goes. Welcome to our family, Cheryl. I don't think that Anton could have made a better choice than you. I am just glad he stopped dragging his feet and decided to move forward. I think that you two make a wonderful couple, Alexei told me, and I could feel the prick of tears in my eyes as he entered the SUV. They followed Anton's car out, as he had just pulled up to meet them. His car was still at the pack house and he had to go get it. I watched them pull out of the area heading toward the gate. I suddenly realized that I am standing here with only a shirt, and nothing else on. Everything shredded when I phased, I feel embarrassed all of a sudden. I mean, nudity is natural for us, but some of us were more modest than others were about it. I went to the pack house and headed upstairs when I felt a hand on either of my arms and Raven leaned in to say, "I will get your food order in for tonight, with the chef, but first we need to pick you out a dress." "Yes, we are hitting my closet first, and if we don't see something there, we will go to Raven's closet next," Stella said. They were both giggling like we were schoolgirls talking about sneaking out of the house to go to a party. I smiled at the thought of how well the night might go with Anton, and I get excited too. Even if we do not have S*X, I am still planning on sleeping with Anton in my bed tonight. I already know that I will feel safe in his arms, and I cannot wait for tonight to get here. I have more anticipation about this happening than I have looked forward to anything else that I can remember. I realized that I needed to get a nightgown too. I only sleep in old t-shirts and a pair of underwear. That is probably not at all for Anton. He is experienced and cultured. I am jealous at the thought of him with other women, but that kiss lets me know that he does. I can still feel his mouth moving on mine, and his tongue swirling in my mouth. My heart rate increases at the thought of it, but I calm myself down with the fact that I won't pressure him. I wanted him to let me know that he does want me like that, and I will let him lead tonight. I am up for whatever he wants to do. I was zoned out thinking about our kiss again when the sound of laughter makes me realize that we had arrived at Stella's room. I noticed that they were both standing in front of me watching me with smiles on their faces and laughter in their eyes. I blushed and said, "What?" a little sharper than I meant to. Their laughter increased for a moment, but Stella managed to say, "I picked out 5 dresses for you. You are still too thin, but one of them, I think, is perfect for you." I tried to fit into it, but it doesn't work for me. I loved it so much, that I bought it at first sight, but didn't try it on. That won't happen again. I loved that dress so much, it literally hurt my heart not to be able to wear it. Truett is going to be upset at me for giving it away, as it is gorgeous. But I will remind him of the positive, it gives him an opportunity to go get me another dress. He loves those trips, he will be just fine with me giving it to you. It is the midnight blue one, with the slight shimmer to it. As soon as my eyes went to the bed, they went straight to the dress that she just mentioned to me. It was a gorgeous deep blue. The cloth had some sort of shine to it, and she was right, it was truly a beautiful dress. I walked over to it but was scared to touch it. The price tag was still on it, and although I loved it, I didn't want to spend $300 on a dress. It had actually been years since I spent money on just something for me. I still have guilt over spending money on myself, when Kevin might need something, so I don't. I am struggling over this, as I really want the dress, but I also want to save up for a space for me and Kevin here too. We don't want to be in the pack house anymore. It is too much like our old home. We wanted to get a cottage built, and Brandon had quoted me a great price for it. He owns his own lumber mill, which comes in handy for building the pack up. He was just going to do it for cost, as when we move out of the cottage, it would then belong to the next family that needs it. He told me to think about it before I made any decisions about building it, but I do not see how I could possibly pass it up. The only input Brandon had was to request that I build a 3-bedroom home. He reminded me that most couples had a couple of pups, and 3 bedrooms were usually the most common ones that were needed inside the pack. I wanted to pay the hospital for my stay here because they saved my life. They acted quickly and in doing so, saved my life. I wanted to pay for it, so I did that. Blackadder has done enough for me and Kevin, and I wanted to repay some of their kindness. They pay the staff, as well they should, and I didn't want to just sponge off the pack. I got clothes and shoes for Kevin every so often. He is growing like a weed and moves through his clothing quickly. The good news is that Raven is very frugal. All the lightly worn clothes that the children outgrow, she has cleaned and stored for emergencies. They are used when we get new members here, as they usually only have the clothes on their backs when they arrive here. I am proud to donate to it too. But I know I need to keep the money that I do have for as long as I can. I plan on staying here, but I also plan on contributing more around here too. Try it on, I know it will look perfect on you, Stella said to me, and Raven had a huge smile on her face. I think that they were more excited about my date than I was. Not possible. I cannot wait for him to come back. He helps to calm me down. He makes me happy, just being around. I don't care if he is a vampire or not. I will take care of anyone who has an issue or a comment to make about it, Akela tells me. I know she will. She lost her when she thought that Blake was going to attack Anton in their fight. I couldn't stop her as she didn't even think about it, she just sprang forward to protect Anton. I haven't shifted in a very long time. I couldn't, as she was too weak. She isn't weak anymore, and she is spoiling to show anyone that wants to mess with our man, that she will not allow it. Our man, I like the sound of that, Cheryl. Excellent choice, Akela smirked as she said it. It was the first time that I acknowledged it myself, but he is. He is ours, and I will fight for him. Stella, it is a gorgeous dress, but right now funds are tight. I have been working on my mental state this year. I didn't have a job, and I feel like I need one. I was going to be a warrior, but I would worry about an attack and leaving Kevin by himself. I don't know if you have heard that I spoke to Brandon about getting a house built for us, so now I really have to watch my funds. I appreciate the offer, but I think this dress would look fabulous on you. Just wear it in here with your mate. If you think it would be too tight to go out for date night, I told Stella. It took a few moments before I heard Stella say, "What are you talking about?" "I am giving them to you. All 5 of them if you want them. I pulled these out for you while you were thinking about something, or someone else." Her smile said she knew exactly what I was thinking about, and my blush told them both that she was right. "Stella, that is too much. I cannot accept that. You do not have to give me all of these. Where would I even wear them?" I looked back down and they were of all lengths and materials. Each one was beautiful, and I would love to try them on, but it was too much. I couldn't abuse our friendship like that. "Just come with me," Stella said as she headed into her bathroom, and into a huge closet. She had 2 full racks of just dresses, not to mention jeans, slacks, shirts, and an area with her workout clothes folded neatly in place. It was a beautiful setup, and she had a lot of clothes. "Yes, I see you have more, but it is too much. I don't want to take advantage of you. That is easily more than $1,000 worth of dresses in there. I only really need one of them. I have nowhere to wear them anyway," I told them. "I am quite sure that soon you will be going out a lot more than you did, let's call it intuition. After we get past this upcoming issue, we plan on having a ball here at Blackadder. Just take the dresses. I want to give them to you, and I was careful to make sure each of them would look great on you. So just let us dress you up like a doll for the night, okay? We really want to do this. We will even get your hair and makeup done for the night for you," Stella pleaded with me. She was cute, sticking out her bottom lip and giving me puppy dog eyes like I was doing her a favor, and not the other way around. "Okay, thank you so much, Stella, for giving me these dresses, they are beautiful. I have never had anything so nice before. I will take very good care of them. I do want to try the blue one on, I told them. Stella squeals and runs back into the bedroom to get it and brings it back before I can change my mind. As they both go to exit for me to change, Raven calls back to me, "We are still going to get some stuff from my closet too. I already have Justin pulling some dresses for me for you to try on too. No need to go through this again, just accept them, and enjoy it. I will have him pack them up for you, to be brought down to your room later on today. We have plans for the next few hours." I don't know anything about any plans for today, but this dress is a stunner. It is the color of deep ocean water. A deep teal, with some blue mixed in with it, giving it a gorgeous hue that makes my eyes pop. It has a cowl neckline that runs low between the thin spaghetti straps, which allows just the swell of my chest to show. It curves in to emphasize my narrow waist, and the short skirt shows my strong legs. I am still a little too thin, but I am gaining at what I considered a pretty good rate. I know not to overdo it, and I have to admit, I have never felt this SY in my life. I have never worn something this short, and I know that this is one of those club dresses. My dad never let me go to one, he was grooming me to be Luna here. After that fell through I was with Blake, he was so possessive he would have lost his mind at me wearing this where any pack members could see me. This would have been something to wear in private, and only for him. I turned to look at the back of it in the mirror, and the back was low, curving down towards the lower back right above my BT. This dress demanded attention. I didn't realize the back was this low. I almost changed my mind about it, but when I turn back to look at my reflection, I know that this is the dress. Maybe I can just leave my hair down tonight, and that will cover the back of it. I immediately shake my head to clear it from allowing those thoughts of my ex-mate in my head. Blake had no business being here in my mind. For a petty moment, I think of taking a picture in this dress when I get all done up, and sending it to him. But I won't because he would lose his ST. As it is, I already know that he will be in the area tonight, because he knows that we are going out. If I sent him the picture he would try to get in here tonight, and I just don't want to deal with him. I want some quality time with Anton, and another kiss like the one I got earlier today. I stepped out of the bathroom to see what they thought. The screams they made were almost ear-piercing to me, and they were gushing over how I looked in it, making me turn around to see the whole dress. "Oh, my goddess! You are stunning, that dress was totally made for you. I am so glad I bought it now." "You are going to knock his socks off," Stella yelled out. "You are gorgeous. That dress is perfect for you. That is the dress. Go get changed again, Cheryl, we need to stop by your room for you to get some shorts on and we need to hurry. We will drop off these dresses on our way, so hurry, we do not have much time," Raven said and motioned me back to the bathroom. I have to admit that I was glad to get Anton's shirt back on. It makes me happy to take in his scent, and we each grabbed a few dresses. I noticed 2 pairs of heels in Stella's hands too, as we hurried down a level to my room. I see a number of dresses now hanging in my closet, and Raven said, "Those were my dresses. I had one of my assistants bring them down after Justin packed them up. I asked her to hang them up for you so they didn't get wrinkled. I asked her if she would put them into your closet. You can go through them to see which ones you like." I hurried into my bathroom to put on some underwear and shorts, and I grabbed a pair of socks, and my sneakers. I didn't know where we were going, but I was having a good time with them. Plus this is making time go by so quickly, I am happy with the distraction. We usually had a couple of children with us, so it was rare for us to be able to just be adults, instead of moms. I didn't know my way around here that well. It has really changed a lot since I left here. It seems like another lifetime, it has been so long, almost 17 years now. I knew about the dining room, the hospital, our room on the gamma floor, and the training area. I still didn't feel comfortable just wandering around here. Not everyone was glad to see me come back. Some were still pissed off at what I had done before. Back when I still cared about pleasing my dad. They knew all the bad things that I did, and so I just stayed to myself. I didn't bother anyone, and that was another reason for us to get out of the pack house, and into a little place of our own. Raven takes off down a back hallway past the dining room, off the entry hall. She goes to the back of that hallway and it turns to the right, and we head down that one too before she stops and I see that we are at a salon. I am stunned. Who has this in their pack? Then I remembered why. She left for the day, and Reagan and I ruined her life. She could have been killed that day by her jealous mate, and the part I played in it makes the bile rise up my esophagus. How could she, or Brandon, have forgiven us? We were undeserving of it. Their precious baby, Jackson, could have died because of us being so spiteful and jealous of her. I can feel the guilt making me sick and my feet refuse to move forward. Goddess, I really messed up. I was such a horrible person to her. I know exactly why this was here, and I can see just how badly we hurt her by looking at this salon here in front of me. She was probably too scared to leave here again in case something else like that had come up again. We had inside information on that, and we really set her up well. I don't think it would be successful to try it again, but I guess she is covering all her bases now. I see her smiling face as she turns back towards me. I see her noticing my expression and her expression of concern for me as she comes to comfort me. I did wrong, and so did Reagan, but she feels bad that I got upset for hurting her. She is unbelievably kind, and I really don't deserve it. The whole pack needed this actually. I just thought since we had 1,300 members, that we would put this in when we built this extension for the pack house. I still went out to get my hair done, but I don't have to now. Don't overthink this, Cheryl. I have had several years to come to grips with it. It was a mistake, and we all make them. Don't think any more about it. Today is your day, and I wanted you to be happy, not sad. I wanted you to have the works, well, as far as we can do them here. I made sure that we had the place all to ourselves for 3 hours. They moved some appointments around, and those ladies were happy to do it, as I am paying for their treatments for tomorrow. It is a win-win for all of us. Come on, you need to decide on what you want to get done, Raven tells me and pulls me inside. I cannot remember the last time I got my hair cut. I think it was around our 8th anniversary. So, over 8 years ago. It is pretty long now, and looking at it in its current condition, it is indeed in need of some help. It is down to my waist and I usually put it in a braid, a ponytail, or a messy bun on my head. I am not as excited about this as Raven is, but I am looking forward to getting it cut and looking healthy again. 3 ladies stepped forward to greet us. It was clear that they were waiting on us. They were almost as excited as Raven was about this. What did you want to do today, Luna? The obvious leader asked, and 2 more ladies came out of the back. Well, Cheryl here needs a cut, and that is up to her, the length, but I think she looks great with long hair. I believe that she needs some highlights to play up her beautiful natural blonde hair. She will need to get her nails painted too, hands and feet. If you can do her makeup, that would be great. She has a first date tonight, and we wanted to get her even more stunning than she already is, Raven told them. Her excitement is contagious, and they are excited to help me. I have to say that I am excited as well, but I can do my own nails. I am used to it, and it is no problem at all. She has done enough for me today. I am already beyond excited about getting my hair done for tonight. I can just see about painting them while I am getting my hair done. I don't want to bother them with doing it when I can do it myself. Chapter 153 Raven's POV. I knew when I saw her face what she was thinking about. I hope she took the words I said to her as the truth. My life is wonderful, and the goddess told me that everything I went through got me here. I decided long ago that I was going to be happy and thankful for it. Even the unpleasant parts, because each time I can help a pack member, especially with something that they thought I wouldn't understand. They were always very grateful for my empathy, and assistance with their problems. It has come in handy, and even the bad times showed me the way because I didn't want to be an uncaring Luna. I wanted my pack members to know that I would fight to protect each and every one of them because they mattered to me. They feel the same way about me. Since I rarely ask for a favor, the Werewolves that traded their appointments today did so out of the kindness of their own hearts. They insisted that I did not have to pay for their treatments, but I wanted to. I know as busy moms you look forward to those little treats, so I felt guilty about asking them to do it, but tonight was the night of their first date. It was a long time in coming, as they both were very hesitant in wanting to expose their hearts to any more pain. But they are so sweet together. I am happy that they have both found someone who will love and take care of them. Blake is more possessive than loving. Blake cares about Blake, his children, and how they appear to others. He is a bully and a control freak. I am glad that Cheryl and Kevin got away from him. I make sure that when he is here, we have a second set of warriors just out of sight. I do it just in case because I wouldn't put it past him to take one of them with him when he goes to leave. If he takes Kevin, Cheryl would return to him, whether she wanted to or not. I haven't had my nails done professionally. My father was pretty cheap and he liked us to paint our own, so that is what Mom and I did. I just need a bottle of nail polish, and I can do it myself. I already have that added to the list of stuff that I need to get when I felt safe enough to go into town. I know Blake, he is just waiting for me to leave, so he can take me back. He knows that Kevin will come back if I am taken back to Black Moon. Kevin would do it just to try to protect me. Even if things are different like Blake said they are, neither of us wants to be there anymore. I just want to wait until it is safe to go out. So, if I can just borrow a color from the wall, I can just do them myself, Cheryl told us, as she went over to look at the colors available. I watched as her hand floated over some bolder colors, before settling on a nice creamy blush color. That is Blake's influence on her. She wanted the bold colors, but she is used to complying with what he mate wanted. Even now, a year later, she still does it. She was that far under his control. I went straight over and said, "Those are pretty but I like these better, pick between them." I think that Anton would like one of these better. I had picked up her first two choices, one was a bright red color, and the other was hot pink. I can see the hesitation in her. She was arguing in her head and kept looking at the blush in her hand. She couldn't decide. I will do it for her. I shoved the red to her, and said, "This time we will go with this, hands and feet. Next time we will get the fuchsia-colored one." I gently took the blush one back and put it on the shelf and sent out a mind link to my assistant again. She was already out running an errand for me. I am adding some things to the list. Cheryl was between Stella and me and we took turns asking questions of her. I thought that if I was the only one to do it, she would catch on to what I was doing. It was hard listening to what she had gone through back when she spoke to Graham. She didn't even know there was a problem with how she was treated there, the whole time she was there. She thought that it was normal because that had been her life. She didn't demand things, and she just clearly kept using what she had until it broke, and she needed a new one. She was quiet and unassuming, and I could see some of what she went through. Her father had valued her brother over her, and my father had valued my sister Regan over me. It wasn't parallel lives, but she had it tough, she was unloved as well, and she honestly thought that the bare minimum of affection that Blake showed her was love. I know why he picked her. Between her and Regan, Cheryl was a clear choice. Cheryl was a fighter, she was nice, she was attractive, and she was a pure gamma. She was as strong as a beta and would provide him with strong pups. It was never about love for him. She was just a good choice, and acceptable to him. He was pissed that she had run away from him when he was so clearly in charge and more valuable between the two of them. Her getting away from him is more over his pride taking a hit, than his love for her. It made me furious, and I was already trying to find a way to piss him off. He needed to see everything he did, was completely and totally on him. He says he knows that, but I think it is just words. His way of convincing her to come back to him was by telling her about all the changes he had made. His not valuing her, and taking things out on her, were going to bite him in the asterisk now. I waited for Anton, and Cheryl, to finally decide to take a chance. I know she feels guilty as she and Blake were chosen mates, and she loved Blake very much. But she needs to be thinking about herself, and her own future now. He may have loved her in his own way, but with the way he had been treating her, it sure didn't seem like it. He didn't take her out, and show her off. I know they were being hunted down, but they went to the human city. No one was looking for them there. Her closet was as bad as mine was at Silver Blade. She had about 8 t-shirts, 2 pairs of jeans, and a pair of shorts. I didn't want to go nosing through her stuff, but that small chest of drawers probably was mostly empty. She exercises in her jeans because they are still really loose on her, and she doesn't have workout clothes. Every offer that I had made to take her shopping was shot down. She was honestly scared to death to leave here. I thought that she was paranoid, but I was wrong. There were SUVs on either side of the pack, the last time I went to the city. Blake was always in the one that led to the nearest city, the one we frequent to go shop in. She was right to be paranoid, but I will not let him get her. We will keep her safe here, no matter what. Between us, we managed to get her list of what she needed out of her during our conversation. Over 70% of it was for Kevin. He seems to outgrow his stuff every 6 months. Just like my boys do too, they are all growing up so fast. It was time for a new wardrobe for him, and shoes too. I had Justin ask Kevin what size he was wearing and added the next size up, to the list. I also added 3 sets of workout gear and 5 matching sets of underwear. She can pick out her own next time. I got her the basics, black and white, and then told her to surprise me, with the other 2 colors. I told her she had a free hand on whatever color tops she got, I just wanted a variety for her. I looked at her jeans which were frayed and looked way old and had her get 3 pairs. She only had 2 pairs here and had shredded her favorite pair to jump out in front of Blake to protect Anton. I had Justin give her my card to go shopping. She has worked for us for 16 years now. The children were older, but it is still hard taking such a large group around. I trust her completely, and I will give her a bonus for helping me with this surprise. I had a mental list of what I wanted for her, I just needed Cheryl's list too. I wanted to take any anxiety I could off of her. I wanted her to focus on Anton tonight. I wanted her to have a relaxing evening where she feels beautiful. I had already ordered their dinner while Cheryl was changing clothes. I took a guess on dessert, and I hoped that they had a great meal and a great conversation. I was so proud of Cheryl for jumping in front of Blake, that I almost started cheering out loud when it happened. But I stayed quiet. Brandon had his arm around me, and he knew that I was really rooting for neither of them to get hurt while fighting. Blake is a sore loser. We learned that when he came here years ago for a training session. Both, Brandon and Justin, had beaten him in sparring. Instead of Blake seeing that this was the reason that we needed additional and specialized training, he took it as a personal blow and accused them both of cheating during the fight. Knowing him as I do now, I know that he probably went home, and took it out on Cheryl. Because he thought that she and Brandon had been together. Anyone looking at Kevin, it was obvious who his father was. Brandon had more of a square jaw, whereas Blake's was sharper and more angled. Their coloring was almost the same thought, with Blake's hair just a little darker than Brandon's, but they both had brown eyes. Her technician had asked a few questions to Cheryl about her length, but Cheryl wasn't picky and said, "I would like it longer than my shoulders. I am not very fancy. I like to put it up most of the time." After a few more questions, Cheryl's just laughed and said, "I defer to you, so you can do what you want. You are the expert here, not me. I just would like to look nice for my date. This will be my 6th date, and I am super excited about it. I didn't know that there was even a salon here. I am just really excited about looking my best tonight." She blushed after she spoke, and she looked so cute at how excited she was for her date. The technician didn't realize and she said, "He must be pretty special if you are on your 6th date." No one spoke for a little while. Cheryl was clearly trying to think of a way to clarify without embarrassing herself but hadn't come up with anything yet. "No, I am sorry. I should have been more clear with what I said. This is our first date together. We have known each other for a little over a year. But, this is my 6th date to go out on in my life," Cheryl told her, and I can see that the technician felt bad for her. Stella and I did too. Cheryl had been ignored for the bulk of her life, and she didn't expect that to change any time soon. But it will, and starting today. I know that Anton will be the knight in shining armor that Cheryl needs. The talking stopped for a while as the technician just kept her head down, and focused on her work. As she moved from one side to the other, the nail tech did as well. They worked well together, and Cheryl seemed to enjoy being pampered. I bet I could say that this is probably going to go down as one of the best days of her life. I was glad that Stella and I were both here to experience it with her and support her. I was glad that I had Justin pack up a few pairs of shoes out of my closet for Cheryl too. I had him do it, because he was supervising the kids, and already in the apartment. He is generous, and he did not mind giving away a few that he had bought for me. I had already linked him earlier to let him know that however many dresses he wanted to give away to Cheryl, he could pick out the same amount to replace them with. He loves sitting and waiting on me to emerge in something that he picked out for me. Brandon defers to him in it too, as Justin just seems to know what will look best on me. Brandon likes to go on the trips too. He is just busier as the pack has grown to almost 1,600 members now. This reminds me, I owe them both a good night. They are always taking care of me and all of our children. They make special plans for me and make sure that I am well taken care of. I could not love them more for it. Seeing how awful it is to truly have a bad mate sitting right in front of me, as I do whenever Blake comes around to visit, reminds me just how much the goddess has blessed me. I need to make sure that I let them know just how much I love and appreciate them both. I smirk as I remember that actions always speak louder than words. I think that I should get my makeup done too for the night, so I will look nicer than usual too. I mind-linked the lead Omega again, this time to order something for us to eat, so we could stay in our room for the night too. I think Leander can take the lead tonight for the pack. I didn't anticipate any problems for tonight, but Brandon did. He mentioned it on the way back from the fight. He knew that Blake was going to lose it if Cheryl decided to accept Anton as her boyfriend. Especially if he felt the pain of her sleeping with him. He knew that Blake was probably going to show up at the gate if that occurred. So we will have all the security up by 6 p.m. after the last of our pack members returns from the city. Brandon also doubled the patrols as well. I am sure that we should have a problem-free night. But Brandon would rather be prepared for an event, especially if we have a reason to be prepared. After that kiss this afternoon, I am willing to believe that Blake may indeed show up. Cheryl was relaxing in her chair, and I was glad that she seemed to be enjoying her manicure. They did her pedicure while the technician was mixing up colors to do her hair. I made sure that she had the best technician as I wanted her to have a boost. We always feel better about ourselves when we look our best. I get the feeling that she has never really been treated to a spa day like this. I am glad that Cheryl put her trust in her technician. She is great at knowing what is best for your face shape. I have never seen her so relaxed. I am literally patting myself on the back for thinking of this. I have to admit I cannot wait for her to get dressed and we get to see the finished look. I am going to get a picture of her after she is in her dress. I will make sure that I don't let her see me do it. I want her to be natural, and not stiff in the picture. In my head, I know that I shouldn't send it to Blake. It wouldn't be prudent, considering our pack's relationship. I know that it really wouldn't be a smart thing to do. But my naughty side really wants Blake to see that he had it all with her, but he made bad choices. He has lost her completely now, we all knew it when we saw that kiss they shared today. They are both ready to move forward, after a very long and tedious will they or won't they period. I am happy for them both and was so glad that Anton has finally let Cheryl know that he wants her. After that kiss we saw, it was clear to everyone that she did want him too. We have all known for a year watching them together, but those two dragged their feet on it for what seemed like forever. I am glad they can make plans for their future, they are so cute together. I cannot wait to see her confidence build now that she is with a man who will treat her the way she needs to be treated. They asked how she wanted her makeup, but Cheryl was unsure as to what she wanted. She plainly didn't wear it enough to make an informed decision on it. Stella wasn't unsure, as she is well versed in wearing it, and loves to get dolled up for Truette. She told them the color of the dress, showing them the closest eyeshadow shade they had to it, and asked them to do a smoky eye for Cheryl. They did her makeup after her hair had been washed and dried. Stella and I loved her hair too, even before it was curled, it looked wonderful. Once the technician had the clearance to do what she wanted to do, she did. The makeup artists worked and Cheryl was turned away from the mirrors so she couldn't see anything before the big reveal. I know that Stella and I were barely able to control ourselves as we watched her face transform. We bought her some mascara, so she could do that if she wanted to in the future. With how it made her eyes pop though, I bet she would be doing at least that and some lipstick or gloss each day. Especially when she finds out that Anton is coming here and building a home. It shows his trust in us and our pack, and that he loves her enough to want to be near her all the time. I know that he is not going to push her not until she is ready. But I already know he will want her input. He will want her ideas on how she would like the house to be. He would want it designed to be how she wants it, to make her more comfortable. With each visit that her ex-mate made, I could see that is all that Blake did to her. He pushed her as hard as he could the entire time they were together. It is clear to me that it has always been his way, and doing what he wanted. Using force to make her do what he wanted. That worked out for him for years. She loved him so much that she was compliant with his wishes. She didn't cause waves, and she went along with whatever it was that he wanted. I could tell that as long as she was with him, she was where she wanted to be. His mistake was thinking that she would admit to something that she didn't do. It is one thing to pick your own battles with your mate and allow there to be peace in your home. It is completely different to allow them to malign and accuse you of doing terrible things. Especially when you know that you didn't do it. What could he have been thinking? Just because she deferred to him on most things, didn't mean she was going to allow him to slander her, and that is what it was. I can feel the anger rise up in me, as I experienced something similar with Brandon. I remember the way he looked at me in disgust. How his friends took his side and kept my friends from supporting or helping me. I remember that pain like it was yesterday. Although I have forgiven him, and the other parties involved, it still stays with me. It was one of the worst days of my life and a horrible memory for me. I bet my life that Cheryl had hundreds of the same memories, with Blake as the villain in hers. I cannot imagine what she suffered there at Black Moon. I bet that we will never know the whole story either. She carries it quietly on her shoulders, and I guarantee you that she probably only mentioned a quarter of the abuse she suffered at their hands when she spoke to Graham. She kept her pain and suffering close to her, and I hope that Anton will show her what real love is, and help her get past all her demons. By accepting Anton, she has taken a huge first step to take her power back. She is fearful of what will happen, but she cares enough about him to take that leap of faith. I get in a better mood realizing that he knew what she was thinking, and that is what got his attention. I am rooting for them both in this. I already know that they are perfect for each other, and I am particularly happy that she will finally know a love that has no stipulations on it. One where he loves her as much as she loves him. One that doesn't involve her having to accept taking a bad mood, or hateful remark because he had a bad day. Anton was just what she needed, and I honestly believe that the moon goddess sent him to her. Even though he is not under her rule. I can tell how much he cares for her, no matter how hard he tries to hide it. If you were watching them, you will see it. That is how Blake knew that he better watch out for Anton. He could see it too, as did Max. They were both against Anton, which is why Stella and I both supported him, whether he was here or not. We felt that he needed to be built up as he was not a werewolf, and that left him at a disadvantage. At least that is what Blake and Max thought, but we could see what they couldn't. She wants to be protected, but she doesn't need a forceful attitude with it. She needs someone who understands what she needs. Someone who doesn't try to tell her that she is wrong for what she is feeling, or how she needs to feel. She already knows what it is she wants, but she had to be careful, as she wanted to make sure that her son was okay with it. I knew what she was feeling, and so did Stella. She has spent so much time taking care of and protecting Kevin, that she is always in mom mode, and can't get out of it. Tonight will show her that she can still be a mom, and still have a relationship too. That it is not greedy to want to have both, she needs to realize that she will flourish by having both in her life. She is stunning and I cannot wait for them to turn her around in the chair. She is more gorgeous than I realized that she would be. I have never seen her look better in her life, and both Stella and I are stunned. Her eyes are gorgeous with the blue used in the smoky eye making them shine. Her lips were pink since her eyes were the star of the show. Her hair was beautiful, it was cut in long layers and emphasized and framed her face. Her naturally blonde hair was played up with some honey, and platinum streaks. With the cut and color her hair looked healthy and shiny now with the dead ends taken off. She is staring at her reflection and we can tell that she cannot believe the change either. One of the ladies stepped forward and said, "Do not cry. You look gorgeous, and we don't want you to ruin your makeup." I can see Cheryl fighting not to cry, so I stepped in. "Your date starts in 30 minutes, we need to get you ready." He is probably already here, I told her. Like magic, she seemed to focus on what needed to be done, and she calms back down. She is going to knock Anton's socks off. He is never going to see this coming. I cannot wait to see his face when he sees Cheryl in all her glory.